Hi everyone, welcome, and I hope you've all had a good day. It's been a bit miserable today. I've been busy baking, well, not that busy because I've got into a routine now of making sourdough. I'm up to making 2 loaves a day at the moment, and I've got my mother under control. I found a nice little place to keep her and the right amount to feed her, and yeah, we're on a little rock and roll. I've completely made up a new recipe, but it tastes nice and we're all happy. But we've got a great guest joining us tonight, which I'm very excited about. So I'm just going to ask them to join us. There we are. We've got one of the founders of a micro business, someone has said. No, I don't think so. I'm very happy gifting it, Victoria. I'll bring you a loaf sometime. I don't know where you live, but I know you're near. So tonight we've got one half of Borough Kitchen, my favourite kitchen shop in London. I'd actually say it's the best kitchen shop, and you could call it the best kitchen shop around the world because they now deliver everywhere. They've got a really cunning little thing that we'll talk about later. I'm just going to see if Justin is joining us. So we want him to come in. He's active, and I've sent you an invite, Justin. So you just need to ask. Oh, hi, you're waving. You just need to ask to join me, and then I can tag you in, and we can go live together. There's lots of nice people joining us. This is great. But this is really exciting because this is a fabulous kitchen shop. They sell all the best things. They sell all the best brands, and the cook school. Everything obviously has been a bit quiet, but I think they're about to open soon. And very exciting. Hello, Justin.
Hi, Fran. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. We've got an echo going on. You've frozen. Right, I'll keep talking while Justin sorts that out. He needs good Wi-Fi if anyone's there. Hello.
Yeah.
Oh,
hey,
that's
Fran,
better. Hello. Right, let me introduce you. So this is Justin Kowbel, one of the co-founders of Borough Kitchen. They set up in 2013 in the fantastic Borough Market. And, we keep freezing, Justin. Have we got good Wi-Fi connection? We're having a bit of a freezing. Are we okay? And now we've got a delay going on. We've got problems. Can someone help, please? But I'll keep telling you. So they started Borough Market in Borough Kitchen in Borough Market, 2013. Opened, worked really hard, and then they opened a few years later Hampstead, followed by Chiswick, followed most recently by Islington, and they had a cook school that started up in Hampstead, and their mantra is best of the best or best in value, and better tools make better cooking, and all us mums know we like to cook better, don't we? And those boys like to cook well. So welcome, Justin. Thanks.
Thank you.
How's it going for you? Tell me.
I mean, it's been such a surreal experience with what's happened. I think the world is all experiencing it in different ways, but we've been lucky enough that we could continue to run our business with our online, and and we're getting ready to open safely on Monday. So strange times, but
hurrah!
Exactly.
So you're opening on Monday. That's really good, and all the shops are opening.
We're going to delay Islington for a couple of days, I think the following week, but Chiswick, Hampstead, and Borough getting ready as we speak to open up. And I think
that's great news, because Borough Market's open, isn't it?
It is, and it's really lovely down there because you're outside, so it's a little safer. But it's gone back to a lot of the food producers rather than prepared food and hot food, which it'll be nice to get those guys up and running again. But it's sort of, you can more easily shop for the food products than normal. So that's been kind of nice.
Yeah, and everyone's loving cooking at home with all this sort of lovely produce that we're able to get hold of. Now, can you tell us the backstory of, because you're Canadian originally.
That's right.
And I think you worked in the city, didn't you?
I did. So both David and I, who's also Canadian, so we both we were flatmates in about 2004. Both of us worked in the city, and then we lived in the same building for about 10 years after that. Both of us had a good time in the city. We enjoyed it. It was a great learning experience. Got to do a lot of traveling, met a lot of great people. But both of us wanted to try something outside of the city. My side to it is I come from a very small business background. My father and my grandfather had small stores. It was a general store for my grandfather, and then a couple of little supermarkets for my father in way up northwestern Ontario, so the center of the country out in the lakes.
Nice.
Beautiful, but very rural. And yeah, my dad was a true entrepreneur, and my mom, and they a couple of supermarkets, a clothing store, greenhouses, just lots of different things. But it all centered around food for the most part, and so food and retail.
Yeah.
And despite you can't get a lot of the ingredients, sorry, many of the ingredients you see in London, they like to sort of pick up what they could and explore different things. But so when I worked in the city, I worked for a number of retailers and brands, like helping advise them on different things. And so I was close to retail and brands during that time, but I think I learned by far more from my time sort of sweeping the steps at my parents' main supermarket. When, yeah, yeah.
I like the reality check.
Yeah, exactly. The first day when we opened in Borough Market, you didn't know if you were even going to sell a frying pan, but everything you had learned sort of from those days working for my parents was useful. But David and I, so we wanted to go out and try something. We both loved food. Originally, we thought about doing something in retail around furniture, but we realized both of us loved entertaining. And so we always joke that we actually think we could probably serve wine better than cook, but we always had a good time with it. And so, yeah, it just seemed like, it started long before opening in September 2013, just sort of poring over the ideas and looking at what others sold here, looking at what was sold elsewhere, looking at what was in our own kitchens, our mom's kitchens, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh. And so you opened your doors with how many staff?
At the time, two. Yeah, sorry, including myself. So it was there was a great guy named Stuart who was with us for a couple of years. But I remember unpacking the boxes together, merchandising the store, and that's actually how David got involved. Is the very first weekend, a few friends came down, and my mom was in town, and they all just wanted to see what it was like on that first Saturday. But we ended up all having to work, and so for the next several Saturdays, a few of the friends who worked in different roles in the city and different industries completely were selling knives and pots and learning about it and just sort of winging it. But and so it didn't take long for David to be handing in his notice and being
and joining the firm.
Exactly.
Oh, that's brilliant, because you two do have an amazing business. And just how did you choose what you wanted to stock?
So that's one of the things that I think I love the most about what we get to do now is I love poring over the product. And I think in a way we're quite lucky that it was that it's kitchenware and something that's a bit technical in the end, because aesthetic is so personal. And whereas we take a perspective on product based on sort of how you use it and how it functions in the kitchen. And I think that really came about from, we looked at our own kitchens. That was the basis for what we sold. So originally the first brands that we stocked in Borough Market were really things that we had found over the previous 10 years. Some even from hand-me-downs from, our mom's kitchen, the lemon squeezer, for example. Okay. And so the store was so small in Borough Market that you had to really edit it down. So it was almost by accident that you had to look at every single piece and decide whether or not it made sense to be there and whether you could be recommending it. And then that led to what are the criteria for selecting it. And the basis, of course, is quality, the other's function and durability. And you started to look at all those things. And as you noted at the beginning, there's always the best in a particular product. And there is a right answer from our perspective for that. but you don't always want the best, especially if you're, starting to learn how to fillet a fish. You probably don't need a Japanese made fish filleting knife. You need a good quality, simple one that's probably a quarter of the price. So,
Yeah.
which was exactly, again, how we had done our own kitchens without realizing it. It was filled with some really good stuff that you used regularly, and it was filled with some really simple stuff from random little shops or commercial cook shops and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, because I love it because, in your pots and pans, I think you most probably have about 15 different ranges,
That's right. Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
And so you go from the Movial copper
Yeah.
core or the all clad, and you've found ones now that work on induction,
Yeah.
and you've got ones that you can use on the barbecue because they're spun steel.
Exactly. Yeah, those are lovely. Those are our Netherton. They're English made spun iron, which are lovely. Um, so when we looked at things and you base it on sort of function and quality and durability, and you base it on sort of those sort of technical aspects that you can draw an opinion on, which are not, it's not based on aesthetics. So it's not subjective. It's just, again, it's a right answer. You should only in theory have one best of the best and one best of value, but people have personal preferences in terms of what the handle feels like or what it's made of or what kind of lid or whether they care it goes in the dishwasher or it's copper or works on better on gas, AGA or induction. So
Yeah.
one of the things that I think you see it, like we just, as we were getting ready, we had some sessions on, for people who haven't been in for the last few months, just getting ready again and, everyone talking about the different products. And it's great to see there's so much excitement around it and passion from the team. So it's nice.
That is brilliant. Now, can we talk knives? Now, knives, everyone needs a good knife because you can't start a kitchen without, I believe, a pot or pan, a knife, and a chopping board. Those three items are key.
Exactly. And it wouldn't be good for our business if we said those are the only three things you really need, but they are the three main things. If you have a big kitchen and you cook a ton, then you probably do want a set of knives. If you're starting out cooking, you really just need two, a small one and a big one. And it's really that big one that you should hit it out on and get one that feels right in your hand, that cuts the way you want. It's the kind of the size that you feel comfortable with. So that's the important one. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're brilliant. Because when I've been in the store, you look at the knives and then someone brings out a chopping board and a carrot and says, "Now have a chop, have a go." Because actually, it's very personal how it fits in your hands. We've all got different sized hands with different sizes, so we can take different weights.
So true. And that actually came from that first Saturday in Borough Market when a friend Patrick came in, and great guy, him and his wife were a big part of thinking about Borough Kitchen. They were good friends of ours, and they loved to beat it up as we went along. And so they've been through the whole journey. But he came up to me and said, "Do you mind if I go out and get some strawberries? I kind of want to show these people who are asking about the knives how they actually chop." And I'm like, "Yeah, go for it." And it just meant, it was just a defining moment for it, and kind of that, really getting people to understand what they were buying. And so, yeah, getting a carrot out and having people chop with it really gets people comfortable with it.
And are you a Japanese knife person or a European knife person?
I'm both.
Oh, what a good answer.
I think there's room for, I love it when pans and knives don't match. And I don't think, again, like a fish filleting knife, if you don't fish fillet very often, or, a bread knife doesn't need to be, again, a Japanese samurai sword. But I love, for general chopping, a Japanese santoku. That's my favorite knife. And ours is Kai.
You're so fashionable.
Yeah. It's actually because I'm not a trained chef, and so even though I love to cook, and I think through our time in the cook school and certainly trialing products, I think both David and I can certainly claim that we can cook a lot better than we used to. But most chefs are really comfortable with an 8-inch chef's knife. The Sentoku's a little bit shorter, still a wide body, and it just feels a little more comfortable in my hand. But my mom used to, before Borough Kitchen, used to give me a knife each Christmas, and so I still have, of course, that range that I use all the time. And there's a a Wusthof Santoku again in the range that I use a lot when I'm gonna do something with a chicken, like spatchcock a chicken or just segment whatever. And so I would mix it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mixing it up's a good idea because then you can just keep adding as you wish or see and
Totally.
like.
Totally.
Yeah. Did you cook as a boy?
I did actually. Food and entertaining, and I always like to point out that we always think about our tools when you're entertaining. So it's really about that enjoyment in the afternoon, preparing a meal, picking what you're going to cook, collecting the ingredients, starting to prep the meal, setting the table. That's really what we think about when we're thinking about things for our customers. That true enjoyment of it. Of course, you can use our tools for formal dining or for stuff, cooking for weekly meals and stuff like that. But really, when we pick everything, we're really thinking about that time you're going to just enjoy your kitchen the most. And so that goes way back. I mean, I think probably the first meal I cooked, I remember with friends that we were quite young, was a pasta sauce, and it would have been probably a lot of it sort of prepped, but I remember it like it always had a mince, of course, in it, but peppers. It was heavy on sort of fresh bell peppers in it. And then, this Sunday night meal in Canada, it's sort of a Sunday roast is more in the evening, but it's a similar sort of concept, that nice sort of slow roast cut of meat with the potatoes and some veggies and gravy and stuff.
Yeah.
And so we'd always, so I'd always help out a bit for that. And both my parents both loved to cook. So it was a shared passion across our family.
Someone's just said, what would you sell to someone who hates cooking? I think you'd have to sell them a cook school class.
Exactly what I would say. Yes. Yes.
Tell us about your cook school that you've had going, and it was set up about 5 years ago.
Yes, by an amazing woman named Carla. We, when David and I opened Hampstead, we had put in a demo kitchen to do more of the sort of the chopping the carrot type stuff, so demonstration stuff. But the Hampstead customers came in and said, "Oh, you should do classes," and so we thought, well, let's figure that out.
Someone on the internet, you're freezing.
Oh, sorry.
Are you there?
Are you seeing me now? Yeah.
Someone's on the internet, I think.
Shouldn't be. Let me just change. Okay.
You've gone all wiry. Oh, someone's just said that oh, hi Des, you did the Indian masala, which you really liked, which is really good.
There, is that better?
So they do, yeah, you're coming back slowly. You'll come back into vision. You're a bit blurry, but we'll get there. No.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me properly now?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. So David and I had taken some classes at Le Cordon Bleu, and just 4 days. It was sort of a treat to sort of learn a little bit more cooking. It was very traditional recipes, the ossobuco and eggs Benedict and things like that. But taught you some classic French stuff, which was nice. But there was an amazing woman there, Carla, who was assistant teaching, and it was at the same time customers were asking for these classes, and so I think we spent 2 months trying to track her down, calling different instructors, trying to get her contact details, and finally did. And so then she joined, and she very much agreed with like the way we looked at product. And so together we sort of figured out that we wanted our classes to be teaching skills and techniques rather than just a recipe. So really important. So the person who asked about learning to cook, there is one class, it's not my favorite, which is like an intro to cooking, but there's another one which is maybe the next step, called Applied Knife Techniques class. It was our first class, and really she taught you some poultry skills, sort of how to chop vegetables properly, how to hold a knife safely, what to do with both hands, which is kind of the pinch grip and the claw, which you know, if you practice that for 3 weeks, it will become second nature, and it's much safer. So it was really about teaching skills and techniques rather than teaching a simple recipe or just a single recipe, and really wanted people to be able to go home and use that. Carla and her husband had moved for her husband's work, and then we have a great lady now named Ibby who's taken over. She doesn't teach all the classes because we've sort of grown a bit.
You've
And
really grown on your classes, haven't you?
yeah, we're excited to get those back up and running safely again soon. She's
Yeah.
working on some online stuff, some, inspired a bit by this, which we love.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Online,
What, so she's going to do some tutorials online?
yeah, yeah. And the one thing I always like, Ibby has brought, she keeps very strictly to making sure people are learning in the class and goes home with learning that skill and technique. And it's always about the student rather than a demonstration. So it's really lovely. But she's added a lightness to it. She's like, she always teases me that she's making it more fun than I would have let her do otherwise. So you get to, she makes it really fun. And she's introduced what she calls like blind spots for more advanced chefs and stuff. So yeah, so well,
really that's brilliant. I wish you loads of luck with your online tutorials, and I'm sure they do really well, because lots of people are doing cooking clubs and things like that, and they are taking off, and you can have great fun.
Yeah, definitely. And she wants to keep it, she's looking at different options to trial, but trying to keep it, like, again, focused on the student and being able to see what the students are doing, not just what she's doing. It's making sure she can provide feedback, and you can ask questions, and there's still an assistant. So it's really still making sure that people are able to get all the learning that they need.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And tell us about your online, because you have this amazing ability. I was looking at your website, that if I say I'm in Australia, I can go shopping for something and it will transfer it into Australian dollars and include the shipping.
Yeah. It
Is that correct?
And the duties and the taxes. So it just makes it really easy for.
So you see, customers. It's £50 instead of £25 plus.
Exactly. Well, or in euros or in dollars or pesos.
Yeah. And so have you started shipping? I know your sales online have gone mad recently, but have you been shipping abroad much, or in these funny times?
In these times, it's actually, we've always seen a fair bit of, I think people get to know us a little bit in Borough Market and like what we do, and then they go home and then they shop with us from there. In this crazy time, I think there's a lot of people who I think didn't love the kitchen before, that have been forced to be introduced to it and have taken on and really tried. A lot of people have tried bread far more than I think ever have been interested in it, and pasta, and because you've had the time to actually spend in the kitchen, and so online sales have gone crazy, and I think it's because so many more people today are interested in trying to cook at home.
Yeah, the sourdough thing has just gone mad, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Have you been selling lots of, because I know you do bundles, so have you been selling lots of bundle bread?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like everything, and I think it gets picked up a little bit somewhere, and then you'll see a crazy run on things. So it's been a real challenge to manage sort of being able to get the inventory, get the stock out to our customers properly. Our poor Islington store has been turned into a makeshift warehouse. I wouldn't turn around and show you, because it's just, we've got to tidy it up pretty quickly.
We thought you were going to be sitting in a beautiful shop with all your products behind you.
We should be, and trust me, I wanted to, but when I came out, it's just, in order to keep the team separated safely and able to operate, all the shelves got pushed to the side, and our beautiful sort of shelving displays got turned into makeshift storage cabinets, but it all works.
Tell me, by your sales and your online and all your sales, can you see food fashions coming and going? Like when the Great British Bake Off is on, do your sales go whoop? Or when someone wins and they make pasta, do your pasta machines go whoop?
Yeah, they do. I think our tools, I think our core customer is pretty versed in cooking, and I can't say that I think you see some movements and trends. I think we sell a lot more of people upgrading and adding to their core, like ranges. Like by far most of our sales are saucepans and knives and chopping boards, and certain gadgets. We do see some trends, and I remember the one a few years ago, which was a spiralizer, which I still do like. I still think is great, but you couldn't keep those in stock. But still, even then, the core people are, they're more seasonally focused rather than trend focused. So roasters and cocottes and casseroles will come back in September, and then barbecues back in April. So there's sort of two main seasons that drive. They're influenced by trends, but it's more, it's our customer is sort of more consistent.
Tell us about your barbecues. Now, I think you stock the big green egg, don't you?
Yeah.
Now, explain the big green egg to people who don't know, because they're an amazing bit of kit.
Yeah, it is, and David and I so we do the buying with Simone, a colleague of ours, and we pour over everything, and so I think we spent a year trying to figure out if the big green egg was right for our customers or not, because it's a pretty significant investment. But yeah, we got there, and both David and I each cook on them and love them. It's probably my favorite meal is done on a big green egg, thick ribeye on the bone, côte de boeuf, done sort of reverse sear on the egg. My absolute favorite meal. You sort of gently cook it for about an hour and 10 minutes, at 110 for about an hour, and then take it off and seal it. But
delicious.
the idea behind the egg is it locks in the moisture and it concentrates the smoke. So it creates just fantastic food. So a really rich, deep charcoal flavor. And because you cook with the lid down and it's like a kiln, it locks in the moisture. And so everything's juicy and succulent. And that's really the reason we love it, is just the quality of the food. It certainly goes, I probably shouldn't say this, I wouldn't say this to them, but it certainly goes in line with our ignoring aesthetics. I don't think it's the nicest looking thing, but it most certainly is the best. And so we're huge fans of it. I think you really get the benefit of it when you cook something like the thick ribeye on the egg, when you use something in it to create an indirect heat. So it's quite different from a normal barbecue, and you cook with the lid down.
Yeah.
And you put a divider in, and then you cook on a rack on that. And instead of a direct heat hitting the food that you're cooking, it creates an evenness around, an even temperature around the meat or the vegetables or fish to make a more even heat distribution. And that lower and slower cooking is really when you get the beauty of the egg.
But it doesn't overcook it, does it? Because it's so slow and low that you still have it raw and pink, well, rare and pink in the middle.
Totally. And it amazed me the first time they told me the way you control the temperature is by controlling the airflow from the top and bottom. So the less oxygen going through, the lower the temperature. And that sounded insanely difficult for me to try and to figure out, getting my head around. But it was very easy the first time. You learn very quickly how to control the vents. It's easier to get it hotter than to get it cooler, but it's surprisingly easy to use for such a.
I think it's a great toy to play around on and experiment, and it's a bit like a sourdough. The more you use it, the more you cook with it, the better you become.
Totally, and lamb on it is so delicious. And for people who are staying away from meat, if you cook cauliflower in it, just simply slice cauliflower and put some olive oil on it, some salt and pepper, and almost caramelize it on like a baking stone in there. It's just, the depth of flavor is so beautiful.
And it does great pizzas, doesn't it?
Great pizzas. Aubergine on it is so delicious. So the Berber and Q cookbook, which we're huge fans on. I saw you had Josh on the other day.
Oh, he was gorgeous.
His restaurants are amazing. His cookbook's amazing. We're all fans. In fact, I think we used that one to inspire last year's summer party.
Someone's just asked, sorry, do you need a barbecue and a big green egg? I think I would say no, but you'll have an answer for that.
No, I think the main part of it. Some people have multiple big green eggs, and some people have multiple barbecues because they do so much of it. But no, you certainly just need one big green egg, and you can cook very easily with the direct heat. So it's just like a charcoal barbecue.
Yeah.
And the thing that I love about it is it's a couple of things. It's so easy to light. Like, you just put the charcoal in, which is all natural. You put a natural fire starter in. it lights so quickly. It's so easy to light. But then also when you're done with it, you close the vents on the top and bottom, and it snuffs it out, and you can reuse the charcoal that's in there next time. So you don't waste it.
What's it also heats up really quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah, 15 minutes to 180 degrees.
So it's not like you're sort of fanning a whatever barbecue trying to get it going, which I've
Hair
done
dryer,
sometimes.
right? Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
It makes it the fact that you can use it like an oven and that you can light it really quickly, I think makes it something that you can use all year round, and it's sort of your backup oven at Christmas or when you're having a bunch of people around. So like I said, it's a big investment up front, but I think if you get to know it, it's so useful.
It's interesting what you say, because some friends of mine, they have an Aga and they turn it off in the summer,
Yeah.
and they just cook on their big green egg in the garden. And even if it's just drizzling, because you just go in and out, it's not something you have to stand over and labour.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Lovely.
You can make it as big or as little. And just tell me, I love those casserole cocottes you have in all those beautiful colours, and the low ones and the high ones and tomato shaped ones. They're from, where are they from? France?
Those are from France. Yeah, and that is certainly one of the key products that we always point to people when we say, if there are like 5 or 6 key pieces in your kitchen, there's always the 28 centimeter, which is a good sized casserole. It's a brand called Staub. It's a lot like Le Creuset, which is another good brand. We prefer Staub. It's got this wonderful lining inside of it, the enamel that is more durable, and it sort of caramelizes like raw cast iron. You can cook on the oven, or sorry, on the hob in the oven or on the barbecue with it. Certainly a favorite. Makes a great risotto as well.
Oh, that's lovely to hear. And so what have you been cooking a lot of, or have you just been working too hard?
So my partner's actually picked up a lot more of the cooking than he used to do. Because we've been, when we first started out here, we were working sort of 24/7, very small team, because most people couldn't get in safely. And so, yeah, I have to say, David and the core team and I have been working long hours, and Graham, I think, is a lot like a lot of other people. He's really gotten to enjoy the kitchen. Last night he did a rump steak with a nice Cajun butter and a nice coleslaw, which had some nice corn that he sauteed in it. And it's, so he did that. I think the thing that I cooked last that was so delicious is, it wasn't a weeknight meal, it was sort of a Friday night, was some clams. And I sauteed some chili, just a little bit of garlic, the clams, and I had some rosé wine that was in the fridge, and I did it with a rosé, and it was so lovely. Mocked it up with some great sourdough bread.
Delicious. Someone's just asked if you stock glass jars with a bamboo lid.
We don't, but we are because they are hard to find right now, but we are looking at some.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Someone's obviously on the ball, and you're on the ball also.
I know Simone.
I reckon they're very green,
Pardon me?
They're very green. They're very sort of aware of the world and
definitely
not using plastic.
Useful. Yeah, is good. There's a lot more out there today that you can clean easily and reusable.
Yeah.
There's a shop in Chiswick that Sourced, I believe, is I haven't been down there,
yes,
but they do sort of tons of stuff that has no packaging, so you kind of go in with your own packaging. I think that's the beginning of a trend there. That's lovely.
I think it's really good. I actually go there and I take my Kilner jars, and they just pop it straight in, and they even know the weights of the jars before you, which is great. How well kitted out is your kitchen at home?
So it's pretty heavily kitted out because I do product trialing. We're on a very strict one.
You get lots of samples, do you?
My kitchen is filled with the original pieces that sort of were like David's kitchen is sort of the pre-Borough kitchen stuff that we now sell because we loved ourselves, like that Staub casserole and one Mauviel pan that I had before. And then tons of samples from when we trial stuff. So, so there's a lot of stuff in there. I think, yeah, it's good. But tell me this, how do you find everything? So obviously you know the brands that you want and you work directly with them. But when you're looking for, because you also have a lovely range of tableware, how do you find that? Because that's quite personal and you need to keep
ahead of trends, don't you?
Yeah. Or, I always used to think a plate should be white and have a rim, and then you change up around, change up around it. Uh, but I'm starting to realize that that's not the only option. And actually, I'm even thinking of changing myself. But Simone's our buying director, her and I pour over product, and we've tableware is something that we wanted to spend a lot more time on because it is very personal,
Mm.
but there's a very significant quality uh, issue that you want to make sure you get right. So finding brands that make things that don't just look good and don't just look good now is a challenge. But there's a French manufacturer called Jars Ceramists. Their
Yeah,
stuff is really beautiful, and they're even doing some stuff just for us now. We went down for a trip to see their factory. Simone and I came up with
fantastic.
some new designs together, and yeah, the quality is just superb, and it's very classic, I think.
And nice
Um,
colours, isn't
not
it?
beautiful colors, yeah, very muted,
Yeah,
but nice things that I think you can live with for a long time.
sounds fantastic. Really good. And do you make a good cocktail?
Yes.
What's your cocktail?
I actually really love making cocktails, and so I think I haven't made it in a long time, but I think I make a great margarita. I love making a Negroni. That's sort of a favorite, and we've sort of the last sort of 6 months at home on a Friday night or after a long tough day, we're onto a dry martini with a twist. So
Okay.
yeah, which I never thought would be me, but one of those, and it's nice. Two's too many, but one's just enough.
Yeah, yeah. So when you reopen on Monday,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
everyone can come and buy from you and um, come and wander around the shop and touch and feel things and just sort of
definitely.
slightly be human again.
Exactly. And so I think everyone's excited to do it. And I watch people now in the supermarkets, and I think everyone's aware and wants to make sure we want our team to feel safe, we want our customers to feel safe. So we put in a number of we put some hand sanitizer at the front. If you want to touch things, we just ask that people do that. Some barriers at the till, separate, the team out across the store, talked about how you can still trial knives and have conversations. And so, yeah, I think everyone's, we were having quick calls because the store teams actually started back today to do a deep clean and re-merchandise the store and get some fresh product in and stuff. And there's a lot of excitement. So, I think, we're all ready for it. We're ready for a bit of normalcy and a bit of chatting to people. And yeah, just making sure that we all do it really safely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, can I just ask you to share your favourite kitchen tool, however little or small or big?
So, one that I use a surprising amount. I mean, gosh, I have a long list, but is there
Yeah, I
is
bet you do.
a lemon squeezer. It gets all this juice out, and so just the kind of one that you lever, and it just gets all the juice out and no pits or pith or seeds, and I find I have lemon juice in salad dressings all the time. I put it in water. I put it on fish. Last night it was in Graham's. He used lime in some yogurt and mayo for the salad dressing. I just find a lemon squeezer is a great tool.
Brilliant, brilliant. I like that. I love those lemon squeezers. I think I call them Mexican lemon squeezers because when I've seen them
Yeah,
making guacamole in
yeah.
Mexico, they do that. And also, what's your food influence? Be it film, book, TV show, chef?
So, oh gosh, there's so many, and there's so many people we've gotten to know, like Josh a little bit, Tim from Trulo. Just so many influences. I think there's one book that does. I keep going back to, which is actually an American publication called America's Test Kitchen, and I love the way they explain to us about why a recipe works and doesn't work. And there's a couple of recipes in there that they've explained exactly where you normally would go wrong and told you exactly how to do it right. And I've always found those to be good. Very North American recipes, but
Oh,
it's a
I've
I
not heard of that. I'm going to look at that. I'll
it,
take a look. And can you share one naughty detail? Most famous customer. And what did they buy?
I guess I could share. There's a few that have been the paparazzi have got carrying our bags in front of Hampstead. Hampstead's filled with a lot of celebrities. So I'm trying to think of Sam Smith. I think is one.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Josh Hartnett. Yeah. There's Hampstead has a lot of foodie celebrities up there.
Okay,
So,
okay.
yeah.
Someone's just asked a very interesting question. This will be the last of my asking you questions. What's your dream tool product that you don't yet own or carry? My goodness, I like that. That's really tough. It's got to be something from Japan. This is taking a lot of thought. I would have to think about that.
You've stumped me on that, but it's funny. I'm sort of annoyed that I can't think of it because there's a list a mile long that Simone and I have of things that we're not happy with or would like to improve.
So you're always looking to update better.
Constantly, and that's one thing that surprised us, I think, and it was when Simone joined that we really started to do this, is we started to get nervous that our product wasn't going to change enough over the years, but there is so much innovation in cooking, and it's not necessarily about, fad gadgets. It's really, there are lots of products that people, engineers or whatever, get excited about and produce, like our chopping boards made by some guys that were making skateboard ramps.
I love them. Yeah.
Those are amazing. Microplane, the lady who sort of invented that, I believe, like she got her husband to make it for her, and he was making something else for it originally. There's so much innovation that keeps coming, and it surprises us that it keeps coming, so there's always newness. I'm going to think about that, and we'll put a message out on that one.
Okay, but this is very funny. Someone said it's the glass jars with the bamboo lids.
Definitely.
They're right.
I think a flour container, like the whole flour, like a large enough one that you can like to look at, that's easy to lift and not too heavy, can get the scoop in. I don't have one of those yet.
That would be good. Well, listen, thank you very much for joining us. And anyone, if you want to go shopping, it's Monday, they reopen. And I think I'd personally say it's the best kitchen shop in England, if not London, if not the world. They have everything. And I need to come and get myself a proper, a dough blade. I've been cutting my dough with scissors.
Yes. Those we finally got some of those back in.
Okay, well, brilliant. Thank you very much indeed. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Bye.